In this video, we'll cover the footer and foundation requirements for TimberTech decking. These instructions will give you the tools to install a foundation and footing system properly and set the rest of your TimberTech decking project up for success. Before installation begins, review the full TimberTech decking installation guides, installation PDF, and videos found at www.timbertech.com. A properly installed foundation and footing system is critical to the appearance and performance of TimberTech decking products. Before proceeding with footing construction, consult with local code authorities for specific footing specifications, including type, size, and depth requirements for your area. The chosen footing type should also align with your deck's design and loading requirements while complying with local regulations. If your deck will be installed close to the ground, you may need to excavate the area. In some cases, you may need to slope the ground to ensure proper drainage away from your home or structure, as well as away from the deck framework. To ensure the stability of your deck, it's crucial to securely attach the deck framing or substructure to the footings. This prevents any uplifting, lateral movements, or shifting of the deck. Never use an unsecured sleeper system or floating deck framing, as these can compromise the deck's stability or result in an uneven walking surface. Many footer options are available. Poured concrete footings are among the most commonly used footers. However, other alternative options for footers and piers are available and may offer quicker and labor-saving solutions. Many regions have companies that offer installation services for these alternative piers and footers, even if you're handling the framing yourself. Alternative pile footings, driven to required depths, offer a strong alternative to concrete footings. Sizes and specifications depend on frost depth, load requirements, and local codes. There are a variety of options of alternative pile footings to choose from, depending on your needs. Other alternative piles are screw styles, including post-ready, beam, and universal mount attachments. There are many manufacturers of alternative screw-type pier options. Alternative pier footings are swiftly installed by driving posts to the required depth, offering an alternative to poured concrete. Contact the manufacturer for guidance on the ideal size, model, and type to match your soil, load, depth, and local code requirements. Precast stackable concrete footings are available as another alternative to poured concrete. Precast footings require digging a larger diameter hole or trench, but eliminate curing times and minimize mess when compared to poured concrete footers. When opting for poured concrete footers, it's essential to consider several key factors. First, excavate the deck area and precisely determine the beam placement and the final deck height. Next, consider the method for excavating the holes for the footers. Options include manual excavation with a shovel and post-hole digger, or the use of gas-powered post-hole augers, or even renting or leasing mobile equipment like a skid steer with an auger attachment. Ensure that the footers are dug below the frost line, following local codes and load requirements. Keep in mind that the actual depth and size of the footing may vary by location. And note that a footing inspection may be required in your area before and/or after concrete has been poured. Use string lines to verify that the footer tubes are level, in alignment with each other, and in plane across their tops. After verifying that the footer tubes or footers are at the correct depth and alignment, fill them with concrete up to the top of the tube. Concrete with a rating of 3,500 to 4,000 psi is generally adequate, but it's essential to verify specific requirements with your local building department. Tamp concrete and level off flush to the top of the footer tube. Run a string line from the points where you plan to install the metal beam brackets to the footer tubes. These brackets will secure the wood beam to the footers. Depending on your project specifications and local requirements, certain forms or footer construction methods may be more suitable. It's crucial that these footers are not only below the frost line, but also sufficiently spacious to accommodate mounting brackets and support the wooden structure. Remember, these footers must remain secure and stable, impervious to ground movements, moisture, temperature fluctuations, and more. Keep in mind that variations in concrete composition and strength can occur. Therefore, it's important to consult with an engineer, architect, or a local code authority for precise requirements tailored to your specific application. Now that the footers have been poured and are completed, we are now ready to install post and beam connector brackets to the footers. There are various connector brackets available on the market designed for different types of footings and load capacities. To determine the suitable connection for your specific application, consult the manufacturer's recommendations, your local building authority, or a structural design professional. For projects using concrete footers, the choice of footer to framing attachment hardware depends on whether J-bolts are pre-cast in place or if attachment to existing or pre-cured concrete is required. When attaching to pre-cured concrete, options include wedge anchors, adhesive secured anchors, or other drill-in-place fasteners to secure the hardware to the footing. While there are many options to attach the framing or substructure to the footing, the goal is to ensure that the framing or substructure is anchored to a stable and secure footing. Helical piles and alternative piers offer a range of brackets from different manufacturers. These brackets are designed to create a secure connection between the post or framing and the pile or pier. Some post beam connectors will need to be inserted and attached while the concrete is still wet and before it is cured. For this installation example, we will use a J-bolt. After the concrete sets up, attach beam brackets to the footers. Using a string line, align all of the beam brackets to ensure they are in a straight line. Temporarily position the beam within the brackets to verify the fit and check the height of the joists in relation to the ledger. Place your ledger board and check the joist alignment and level. Please note, a secure and level deck primarily depends on firmly grounded and stable footer systems positioned below the frost line, with framing securely attached to them. When working with cut treated lumber, apply a wood preservative to further protect the cut ends. If the finished deck is to be even with the grade or close to ground level, this will require the wood substructure and framing to be below grade. Ensure that you calculate the amount of soil that will need to be removed to achieve desired deck height. Please note, when wood is near or in contact with dirt, soil, or moisture, it must be adequately protected. This can be achieved with the use of appropriate flashing tapes, or other similar products. Landscape fabric should be placed under the beam to allow any moisture to drain away from the beam, as well as prevent possible weed growth. Flashing should be applied on both sides of the beam, wherever the beam might come in contact with soil or water. Flashing tape or joist tape should be installed on top of the beam where the joists will sit. These measures will ensure that the below-grade beam is fully protected. When building a deck on a grade that will require excavation to achieve the desired finished deck height, it's important to consider proper drainage and water flow. Ensure that the grade under the deck slopes away so any water will flow away from the house. It's important to avoid any water pooling or puddling under the deck for any period of time. Be sure to develop proper water drainage beneath the deck by analyzing the slope and water runoff direction before installing the wood joists or decking. Gravel, drainage pipes, landscape fabric, or similar products can be used beneath the deck to facilitate the proper diversion of water away from both the house foundation and the space beneath the deck. Let's recap the footer and foundation requirements for TimberTech decking. To ensure the optimal performance of TimberTech decking products, it's imperative to establish a solid and stable foundation or footing system. For low-profile decks where the finished deck surface is near ground level, consider excavation and grading beneath the deck. In cases where the framing or substructure of low-profile decks may be at or below ground level, it's essential to protect any wood in contact with soil or moisture using moisture barriers or flashing. There are a number of footing options available. Concrete footers are very common, but there are other designs including helical pile and alternate pier-type footers. It's crucial that all deck frames and substructures must be securely attached to proper ground footings or building structures. Numerous attachment options are available contingent on the footing system used. Always consult local codes and manufacturers for guidance. Remember, unsecured sleeper systems or floating deck framing should not be used. Now that the footing, foundation, and connectors for framing are installed, you are now ready to install your framing, joist, and blocking.